Good afternoon. This is Doug Browne at Farm Bureau talking to you today about no-fault reform. As you're probably aware, we've got a change in our auto laws coming up as soon as July 2nd of this year. I know and you know that because of what's going on with COVID and everything else that, we're worrying more so about our livelihoods, our businesses, our immediate families, that type of thing, as opposed to wondering what to do about my auto insurance. But I'm here to tell you that you're going to have to do something. And I'm trying to make it easy week after week, showing you about what the aspects are to you being ready at such time that this change comes across your desks. Be aware that if you've got a policy right now that is renewing in September, October, November, you don't have to make a decision right away, but you might want to give our office a call just so you can see if it's going to be to your advantage to change earlier. If you've got a policy that's renewing in the next couple months, likewise give us a call. The people whose policies are renewing in July and August are in the catbird seat in terms of getting the best pricing as soon as possible. So let's talk today about bodily injury. What is bodily injury? And again, why should I care? As you're aware, we've talked about the three decisions you face with the new auto reform. Personal injury protection, number one. Bodily injury liability, which we're covering today, is number two. Backing up to personal injury protection, recall that you will have a decision to make as to how much personal injury protection you want. No longer will you just automatically have unlimited, as has been the case with no-fault auto in the state of Michigan for the past 50 years. So you're going to make a decision, item number one, how much coverage you want. And that's going to give rise to our discussion today, bodily injury liability. The reason why I'm talking about this is that, as you see here, you don't get to pick the other guy's coverage. Let's say that you're in an accident, you're found to be at fault, you slid on black ice or something like that, and the other guy only has $250,000 of personal injury protection coverage on his policy. He's coming after you in that instance. He's going to hire himself a lawyer and come after you for the remainder. Under the new laws, if he doesn't have enough medical coverage, he turns to you. This is bringing up the next subject, which is, again, first party versus third party. I say this again because this will be the third time I've reviewed this in these presentations. Why should you care? Well, here's an example of a first party claim where my adjuster gets out there to take a look at the fender bender that your vehicle was in, and the insurance company will pay you as the first party. In other words, your insurance carrier pays the damages on your vehicle. Again, if the other person doesn't have enough medical coverage for themselves, not auto coverage, but medical coverage, they turn to you. And that's when this becomes a third-party claim. The lawyers get involved, the courts get involved, etc. And why do they get involved? Because there's a third party, the other person who was hit, who's going through you to your insurance company. And we're paying a third-party claim. Not to our client, not to the first party, but to the other guy who has filed a liability claim against us. We're paying damages to a third party. And that's what we're going to be seeing a lot more of as we move forward here, because it's still going to be a fairly litigious state. The personal injury lawyers will still be out there driving Range Rovers and Mercedes every day of the week. And, the rest of us enjoy what we have, provided it doesn't get into a wreck. So let's talk about the bodily injury liability limits. I know there are a lot of numbers here, but we're going to break these down as we move ahead. 20-40-10. What does that mean? That means that you've got $20,000 of liability protection per every person who was in that accident with you. You're my client, you're the driver, the other guys are coming after us. And we've got liability protection for each of those people for $20,000 and a total amount for the entire occurrence for $40,000. And the last figure, the 10, is the liability for property damage. That's a whole nother discussion. We don't have the time for it today. Let's not worry about it. Along comes auto leasing many years ago, and they want to see higher limits. So that they brought out they popularized the 100, 300, 100 limits. Again, $100,000 of liability protection for you against each one of the other people, 300 for the total occurrence, the total accident, and 100,000 property damage. Farm Bureau, meanwhile, has chosen all along to raise that number to the 300 that we see here. So let's move on a little bit. Talking about this same 20,000, 40,000. Again, you've got $20,000 of protection if the other guy comes to sue you. Believe me, that is nothing. That's the state statute, and that's going to be raised as of July 2nd. The state is going to have a higher, much higher recommended default level for that, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But normally when we come across people who have this kind of bare bones coverage, you know what they say? They say, I have full coverage. To which I say, does this really mean anything? Do you have the lowest limits available at 20, 40, 10? Do you even have physical damage protection on your car? And they say, well, I don't know, but my agent told me I have full coverage. Heck, they might have PLPD, personal liability and property damage protection. This is not property damage for their own vehicle. This is property damage for the house they ran into or the bridge that they ran into. Again, minimal coverage. We do not believe in this type of thing. I don't have any clients who have this low level of coverage. Basically, it's substandard coverage. Oh yeah, that's where it comes from. We don't go there. Farm Bureau is intense on giving you the right kind of coverage on an ongoing basis. Bodily injury liability limits. Again, here's the next higher level we saw, popularized by auto leases. A little bit higher is Farm Bureau's standard, $300,000 per person, $300,000 per accident, $1 million in property damage liability. Moving forward a little more, what you see here right now is the auto reform suggested limits, where our software will default to this $250,000, $500,000 level, as will other carrier software. We can adjust it up or down from there, but that's going to be a decision that you have to make with the assistance of your agent. So give us a call on that, and Amy and I can help you make a decision there. Now remember, once more, that if the other guy doesn't have enough coverage, he's going to come after us on a liability basis, and these bodily injury liability limits are going to be our protection. That's why I'm going to be recommending, especially for my clients who have any kind of net worth, equity in their homes, 401k, you got it. I'm going to be recommending that we go ahead and put a 1 million policy in place. And once we do the analysis, you'll see that these higher limits are not that expensive. What costs more in current auto policies are the PIP coverages and the damage protection coverages, your comp and collision if your auto's damaged in an accident. But this liability discussion that we're having right now does not involve a huge increase in costs. Nor does an umbrella. And again, with my clients, with my people who have net worth, 401ks, accumulated equity in their homes, they're doing well in the stock market, they stayed put, and even though the stock market dropped by 20 or 30%, it then recovered by 20%. we're going to put an umbrella in place for them, starting out at $1 million and going up as far as $5 million. This, again, is to provide you a backstop, provide you protection in the event that you're found to be at fault in an auto accident in the brave new world, which again starts up July 2nd. So that's what we've got for now. Again, we're looking at now four main topics. Your two primary decisions, the first being the PIP coverage, the second we just covered today, the bodily injury liability limits. The third item is the responsibility you have to talk about who are drivers in your household, who aren't, that type of thing. And finally, the fourth item, which is described here as one savings. That's the savings that will be coming to you based upon the fact that a fee schedule has been rolled out. And even though that fee schedule is effective July of 2021, the savings are going to be effective July 2nd of 2020. So we're going to be seeing that coming right quickly here. Again, we're learning more and more every day about no-fault reform. The governor's learned a little bit lately while she's taken time off from the other mess. Give us a call for assistance. The number here is 248-486-1831. Amy or I can help you with this. Joe handles autos as well, and we look forward to being of assistance to help you be the guide and you do the right job for your family. Thank you again, and we'll be back next week. We appreciate your joining us today. Take care.